Bonjour, everyone. Sorry about the sound of semi-loud machinery. I hope it's not copywritten by Beck or something. Good morning. Here we are in sort of the more, what shall we say, genteel part of town, out beyond the capital. And there's sort of a kind of cute little area starting, and I thought that we could go check it out as we mosey into our day here. There's like the cliff is there. Sorry, I should have gone a little bit further in. This is sort of a nice little, this is some sort of 1920s nice architecture place. Sort of a rare find here. Yes, we're having a sort of kinder, gentler day, shall we say. And I hope you are all doing most well. It's like a little museum. And wow, that looks like a nice place for a picnic. Here is some lovely trees happening, kind of coming through the back way. And what I thought would be nice to show you is there's a place that was kind of beginning to become abandoned and falling apart, like the brewery, which so many people were excited about when it became vacant. Everyone seemed to have great ideas, and I don't know if the city or if someone was trying to charge too much because it kind of just fell apart. But across the way is our mid-century architecture. Oh boy, the Evergreen State College conference services. Is that what this? I've always wondered what goes on in this beautiful, mysterious building, because it was originally a museum and owned by the city, and then suddenly it wasn't. The coach house started to get rented out for weddings, but I actually heard noises in there when we walked by earlier that sounded like someone was living there. So is it just, has it been taken over? Is it sort of like the Paris communes, and after they beheaded everyone and just sort of moved on in? It looks a bit frowsy in the back too. It used to be sort of, but yeah, that could be like a private residence up there. Evergreen Conference Services. What would a conference service be? Did we just stumble upon an interesting animal as we were just ambling along? There's a little chandelier, and there's I don't know if you can see them, but there's these sort of, for nice days, umbrella tables that are in the back. Evergreen Conference Services. Interesting. Oh, do they supply the goodies? The conference services? Is that why it's a pickup truck? Do they bring the party favors? And all the treats. Is that why? Oh, is that why this professional building was sort of falling apart? There wasn't much. There was like one dentist hanging on from the good old days. I think his name was Yamaguchi, and he'd been like the governor's dentist. That was the only person David George would go to. But then it was like the place emptied out, and I thought the building was scheduled, and you know, it probably is scheduled for destruction. I've noticed that when there's cool places that are starting to fall apart and not being fixed up. And that's the place that's so sad I haven't filmed it, where we had the place that was a bed and breakfast that had been the original printers, and then it turned into this kind of sort of fun, like easy bed and breakfast for maybe 10 years, and then suddenly knocked down for like a state building or something. And I've seen this time and time again. I didn't know it was a trick. Now I do. So they might have some kind of deal with someone saying, okay, the place is falling apart. You guys can have cheap rent on it if you don't bitch that we're going to tear it down and put up something nasty. I could be wrong. Maybe there will be something restorative going on. There's also a bookstore, a barber shop, but they have done this before. I've seen this many times where you'll see something that looks like it's cute, and some of them are in these places, and then they just are there basically as a holding zone, maybe to keep out the criminals, or something, skin and wax. However, in looking at that sort of takeover of the mansion across the street, and who knows, maybe that's going to be scheduled for a teardown too. They'll just say, it's old, it fell apart, because they're not taking care of it. But do you see this? Where and I forgot to film something. I'm so sorry, I've got a big bulky sweater on. I forgot to film something earlier at that library. If I can get back to it, I will. That it's funny how they took away the books and left, though, in front of all things, a newspaper stand with a Marxist paper. It's sort of like, you don't need the books. I'll try to film it as soon as possible, right? There is Frog Pond, but you see what I'm saying? I'm not sure if they're just doing the let it rot, and that there are these weird agreements that go on. And I hear about them sometimes. They'll say, they made it around the campfire while everyone was on ecstasy and the state employees' day off kind of thing. And what are the plans? What are the plans? And is this some sort of old original school? But as you can see, hey Mankin, are we making macrame? Okay, with your leash? So interesting. The Evergreen State College connected to this in town. Conference services. So is this where they have their little fun fancy gatherings? I don't know. In private? Yeah? Does that truck supply the adrenochrome? What on earth have we unearthed? Much love.